Surprises so far this season. I'm kind of interested in this kind of conversation with you because I came up with a video recently talking about the five teams that I'm excited for. And while I'm still excited for all those five teams, a couple of other teams have kind of sparked my interest a little bit. So I noticed I can see your list. You've got two written down here, and I've got three, but we both have one of the same teams. And that's the Ottawa Senators. So
Yeah.
what about the Ottawa Senators have kind of surprised you so far?
I just think their jump and their enthusiasm. I haven't watched in depth the games that they've played, but I've watched replays and I've read some media. They're young. They're fired up. They're ticked. They're probably not happy that they're not being taken for real, and they're going to go out and get some things done. And that first game against Toronto, I thought, was an example of that. And even their comeback in last night's game. I know we'll talk about the games later, but their comeback and close to tying the game late, I thought was just awesome. If I if I was an Ottawa fan, I wouldn't be getting my lawn chair out for the parade that will not happen in July.
Yes.
However, and I don't even know if Ottawa has a reasonable chance of getting into the next or the first round of the playoffs. But I'm a lot more optimistic after watching the start of the season than I would have been a couple of weeks ago.
It's they're not really playing angry. They're just playing. They're playing like they probably saw all the media and people pegging them in a certain position in the Northern Division. I think I put them last, so I'm included in that. People underestimating them, and I don't necessarily think that they're pissed off at that. I just think that they're using that as motivation to prove how good they actually can be. They have so much talent. I was worried about them defensively, specifically in net, and it's been pretty good so far. So if they can get consistent defense and good goaltending, it it's a team that can compete and could potentially sneak into the playoffs and maybe do some damage. Like it's not like they're a totally anemic team. Like they have the pieces there. It's just I didn't think that they would be as consistent starting out. So if they keep up with that, man, that's I'll be the first to admit that I'm wrong about the team, and I hope they do well. They're a Canadian team, but I hope they don't do too well because I'm a fan of the Canadians. So
That's right. That's right.
yeah,
Yeah, I think like I don't think Ottawa's in any danger of breaking into the jewelry cabinet in the Hockey Hall of Fame and hauling a bunch of trophies out of there and walking around with them. Not this time, but yeah, like you, there's obviously some gaps they still have, but so far it's so good. Like when they were down 3-1 last night, they didn't quit. They just kept on humping away, and they almost humped their way back into at least a tie game. So
yeah, lots of humping going on. The Detroit Red Wings is the next one on my team or on my list, and they it's hard to do worse than they did last year. So again, kind of like Ottawa, their expectations aren't super high, but I found the team to be playing a lot more feisty than they did last year. And with that said, at the end of last season, they actually were playing some decent hockey. So maybe they're continuing that trend over to this year, but they've been more physical this year. They've been harder on the puck along the boards and stuff, winning more battles along the boards. They just seem to be a little bit more emotionally engaged. They're keeping the games competitive, and you know they're they're playing very well. They're playing better than some really good teams. So full marks to Detroit. Maybe they'll surprise us this year, but I just wanted to throw them in there as a surprise this year and a team that I've genuinely kind of enjoyed watching. Have you gotten to see any Detroit?
I have not, and I have not really been paying attention to Detroit. I just, while you were talking about them, I pulled up the standings and see them halfway up. Of course, Florida and Dallas haven't played at all, and they're all in the same Central Division.
Yeah,
So the tale isn't really told there about how everyone's going to do. But right now, Detroit's in fourth place. So
yeah. There you go. And I noticed you have Arizona on your list.
I
What
did
about Arizona surprises you?
just where they are. They were, well, until last night. No, I guess last night they won as well. But they, I, not having studied it, not having paid much attention to Arizona, I just thought that what we saw in the last year or so was more of a flash in the pan, and that it would be hard for them to replicate that kind of success this year and into the future with who they have on board. But they're off to a good start, and I think for a little while they were on top of that West Division. I thought, and maybe I got that wrong, but no, they couldn't have been if they just won their only game. anyway.
They
Uh,
they they played well so far this season.
yeah, but now I see them, like they're tied with Colorado and St. Louis, and St. Louis, by the way, what a rotten game they had the
Yeah,
last
that
one.
was terrible.
Yeah, but I just think that Arizona is a team that I would expect to be at the very bottom again, and just based on two games, I mean, how can you figure it out really? But
Hmm.
it looks like they're taking themselves seriously again, at least, and that's a good thing.
It is a good thing, and they did have some success last year, but if injuries can stay out of their lineup, then I think they can be pretty competitive. They're a fun team to watch. They really are a fun team to watch. Very underrated watchability in the NHL. The other team on my list was the Devils. I am not a New Jersey Devils fan. I don't think you are either in any way, shape, or form. But I guess we talked about it early in the podcast. That game against Boston gave me a little bit more appreciation for New Jersey, and they were right in there the entire game, and then they got it done, and it was a physical game. It felt like a playoff game. That's the kind of New Jersey I want to see. There were still some defensive lapses, Subban, but still overall they played well, and they were way better offensively than they normally are. So I'm not saying I'm super excited to watch the next New Jersey Devils game, but they piqued my interest,
That
and if I have a chance to watch them, I'm gonna.